Welcome folks to what is the strangest motorcycle released this year and indeed probably this decade. This alien creature is the 400,000 Rand MV Agusta Superveloce, and to explain it we turn to a somewhat surprising source. Now normally we kind of ignore the blurbs from manufacturers about motorcycles because they're utter nonsense, but the one from MV Agusta about this bike is a little different. Here it goes. A modern interpretation of the iconic stylistic concept of MV Agusta. A fusion of vintage and contemporary ensures that the future incorporates the memories of good times gone by. That's pretty spot on. Those days gone by refer to the 60s and 70s when MV Agusta were the #1 name in Grand Prix racing, with such prestigious names as John Surtees, Gary Hocking, Mike Halewood, Phil Reed, and of course the most successful Grand Prix racer ever, Giacomo Agostini, turning laps on their machines. And you can see those influences in this bike. Look at the shape of the front fairing. Apart from the coloring, which is just classic racing MV Agusta, you can see that shape of the old Agostini race bike. Also in the rear, the tailpiece, you can see it looks kind of like that single-seater unit, like Agostini would be sitting actually there, and the back you can almost see the kind of rounded sort of look about it that Agostini's bike has. Also you'll notice there's a leather strap over the tank. Now many people would maybe think that's an unmentionable in family circles, but that is how they used to hold the tank down back in Agostini's days. This actual tank is not held down by the strap. It's got, you know, bolts and stuff, but it looks good. Also, as a more functional thing for riders, it means you don't need to buy a tank pad. That's nice. Then you got the futuristic look. I mean, there's sort of this round kind of LED headlight that twinned with that round taillight over there, this weird tiara thing, all the bits and shapes and pieces. It just looks kind of UFO, like Italian version of Doctor Who or something. I absolutely love it. There's more. Note the way there are no visible fasteners, giving the fairing an even more futuristic appeal. It is one of those motorcycles where the more you look at it, the more splendor you see. With all this glamour, we set our sights on the most glamorous location we could think of, Monaco. Sadly, Monaco wasn't exactly available to us, so we went to South Africa's Monaco, Hartbeespoort. Apart from the fact that it's nowhere near Monaco, and it's nothing like Monaco at all, it's basically Monaco. So there's a few problems while riding through Monaco. It is a super bike, so it's not exactly the first word in luxury comfort. Also, yeah, one or two other little things, like riding at low speed like this, it does sound a little bit cement mixer-ish, if I'm honest. Also, other little things like the dash is kind of a bit dark, so you kind of miss a few of the idiot lights. Like I nearly ran out of petrol because I didn't quite see the petrol light coming on. Also, the indicators are hidden by the screen. If I'm sitting sort of normally like this, the two indicators, like the little flashy things, are hidden by the screen, so you don't see it. So although you're on this glamorous MV Agusta, everyone thinks you're a pillock because you're riding around with the indicator on the whole time. But apart from that, I mean, this dash, it's not the most colorful, but it does look very sort of sophisticated, very elegant. I feel all kind of debonair with it. Also, you are reminded of what this bike looks like every time you go past anyone. Every time I've gone past someone walking, everyone looks. And there are a lot of bikes come through this area, and every single time I went past the motor or bike came past, the rider immediately double took, like. And yeah, that makes you feel kind of special, yeah. Also, this specific road through Monaco is quite windy, and it sort of reminds me of, well, makes me think of the Isle of Man, and that's Agostini on his MV. Oh yes, through the buildings, feeling all godly. This bike is so light, it really is. It turns on a dime, you don't even have to think about it, it just goes in, and that sound off the walls. Haha. Although, think about the Isle of Man, some of it is through the town, a lot of it is through big open bits, so shall we go find some big open bits? And so we headed to the new motorway crossing the Magaliesberg Mountains, denoting a new main route between Joburg and Rustenburg. It's fresh, it's straight, and it's empty. So at low revs, I'm going to be honest, this motor doesn't sound the best. It sounds almost like cement mixery-ish. However, when you open the throttle and get the revs up, oh, listen to that! The motor is much the same as that on the F3 800 Superbike, with an inline triple and MV's famous counter-rotating crank, pushing 148 horsepower, with the red line at 13,500 RPM. With a screaming triple comes a screaming triple soundtrack. That is a sound that'll tempt sailors to the rocks. That is a sound that stirs the soul. That is, I'm pretty sure, the sound, well, I don't know what sound Agustini was listening to when he was riding his bike, but, because I wasn't like a little bit born at the time, but I'm pretty sure he had a sound that stirred his soul, something like that. What's interesting is that this bike isn't, and it's not that fast, you know, like outright world superbike, you know, big liter superbike fast, but it just gives a feeling of being fast, and that's sort of the important thing. Also, it's very stable. I don't know quite how they did it. That's that forward rotating crank and everything. We got the dragster that just wants to wheelie and jump. This thing is really planted, really planted. So we've experienced the MV Agustini, Isle of Man, town roads and open bits. But what about the most famous Isle of Man feature of all? The mountain. It's so nippy. It's an F3. I mean, we know the F3 turns really well, but it's nice to be reminded of that. It's weird. It's got two like things going for it. It's so nippy. It flips on a dime, and it's so stable at the same time. Plus, on this exact model, the fuel mapping's been redone, so it's a lot smoother. You've got so much control through these corners. And then you get out of the corner, you open. Ha-ha! The Superveloce sticks to the Italian Mazzocchi front forks with a Sachs rear shock, something many people might criticize. However, there's no fancy Öhlins. I mean, not like the suspension on here is terrible, but it's not Öhlins. But right here on this roller coaster Isle of Man in South Africa, I can't tell the difference. Auto flip down, over the rise. Oh! Front wheel up. Another criticism would be the lack of a 6-axis IMU, meaning no cornering ABS and a less precise traction control. But again, on this model, we don't think anyone really gives a damn. Ho ho, that sound! It does two things. It makes me feel like I'm going faster than I actually am, and it makes me want to go faster than I actually am, and I love that. However, despite no IMU, the Superveloce is not entirely bereft of new technology. That's cool. The dash connects to my phone, tells me that I got messages. Dear Mr. Fourie, we would like to chat to you about your outstanding amount on your account value. Anyway. Whatever misgivings you could blame the Superveloce for, it is still a fantastic ride, full of drama, excitement and joy. And open up. Ho ho! Yeah! However, what makes this motorcycle truly unique is that the entire package of glamour and appeal makes the rider feel like a king for the day, or any day it leaves the garage. The fact that it is also a good ride is just a bonus.